CloudStack Collaboration Conference 2025, and I'm here with Giles Sirett, CEO of ShapeBlue. ShapeBlue is the major code contributor to the Apache CloudStack project and also one of the biggest supporters of the CloudStack Collaboration Conference, which is our marquee event. Welcome, Giles. Can you introduce yourself?
I think you've just said most of it, Ivet. I'm here, I'm Giles Sirett, I'm CEO of ShapeBlue. We're here as a sponsor of this conference, but I'm also here as a PMC member and a committer of Apache CloudStack. I love this event. It's such a great chance to collaborate with other people in the community, to meet old friends, and to share some really good, exciting ideas about the future of Apache CloudStack.
ShapeBlue is a company which is quite unique because you are basically providing services on top of CloudStack. Could you tell me a bit more about your secret sauce for the business success and why you decided that you want to make a business around open source technology?
That's a really good question. It's interesting you ask about secret sauce, because secret sauce is often people talking about their proprietary clever piece that they've got in a software company, but we're quite different in that we took an early decision to say, okay, the value of Apache CloudStack is the fact it's an open source Apache project. And what that brings is stability to the project in terms of it's not driven by a number of large vendors, it's not getting driven in different directions. So what we set off to do with ShapeBlue was to really sort of provide the sort of services that a software vendor would provide around a piece of technology without it being our technology. So as a company, we help our customers implement Apache CloudStack, we train them in Apache CloudStack, we support their production deployments, we help them with engineering services. But the other thing we're doing all the time as a company is contributing into that community and putting as much effort as we can into developing the Apache CloudStack project.
You personally and ShapeBlue are engaged with CloudStack for at least a decade. What evolution you are seeing in CloudStack and where do you think it will go?
So yeah, I've been involved in the project since 2012. I've been a committer in the project since 2013. And ShapeBlue, apart from a very brief period at the beginning where we started off as being a technology agnostic company, has always been involved heavily in CloudStack. The key point is it has been an evolution, not a revolution with CloudStack. Because it's an Apache project driven mainly by its users, the users want stability. Obviously, they need an orchestration platform that is going to evolve in terms of supporting more things for the orchestration layer, newer versions of things, and we're keeping up with demand, or the project is keeping up with demand of what users want in terms of we now can orchestrate GPUs. We're now making it a lot easier for people to add in other hypervisor support to CloudStack. But ultimately, it hasn't really changed, and it won't probably change in terms of what it does. CloudStack's got quite a tightly defined scope. That's why people like it. It's not trying to do everything in somebody's infrastructure. It's doing a really important part. So the short answer is no, there won't be massive headline change with Apache CloudStack, but we know it will still be around as a technology well into the future.
Other people, which I have interviewed earlier today, were saying that they're seeing the future of CloudStack in more capabilities and functionalities around AI. Do you think that this actually will happen, or the project and the community will continue to focus on the core capabilities, which is basically managing cloud?
I mean, it's like AI everywhere. There's an inevitability about it in every aspect of our life, and an orchestration platform like CloudStack would be no exception. I think there's a lot to be gained in a technology like CloudStack because of its complexity in terms of what it does. The advantage CloudStack has is it makes that all look very simple, but it is a very complex piece of software. And to leverage AI to start to make decisions about resource allocation, start to make preemptive decisions, that's almost a no-brainer at some stage for CloudStack. And because the irony is CloudStack's sitting underneath lots of clouds at the moment, which are busy training lots of AI models. So it already has quite a strong relationship with AI. But yeah, it definitely will. Exactly how, we need to see.
We're seeing the community grow, and we're seeing more and more people joining the CloudStack Collaboration Conference. Do you observe any new verticals of users which have started to adopt CloudStack?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing growth across CloudStack, lots of different verticals. I mean, it's hard to select one, whether it's, banking or retail, or we're seeing it everywhere. I think the interesting thing is not to look in terms of vertical, in terms of what those organizations, what their business does. It's interesting to look at other sort of axes about those organizations. And what we're seeing is growth is in organizations that traditionally wouldn't have looked at open source. They would have found big barriers. They would have had issues and concerns around open source. Now, there's been changes in the industry, and I think the benefit of open source is now seen in organization, a lot more organizations. So I'd say as a vertical, that's the big difference we're seeing. We've got people at this conference this year who it's probably their first ever open source conference, and they're realizing, the benefits it can bring, the security it brings in delivering the functionality they want, and, reducing risk in their business going forward.
How do you explain to companies like enterprises or service providers who so far have been heavily tied to a specific vendor and using proprietary technology that they should actually move to open source and that's something reliable?
I think explaining that at an executive level is really easy, right? Because there's been certain events that have happened in our industry recently which have shown people the massive risks of going all in too heavily with particular vendors in core infrastructure. So I think at the executive level, people understand it in terms of open source can remove that risk. You're controlling your own destiny, and there's lots of good service organizations like ShapeBlue, but in other projects, other companies which are doing similar things, which allow an enterprise to have open source tech, but some security that a vendor would provide. It doesn't have to be proprietary. I think it's when we then come down into the person on the ground. That's where the challenge is. And if an organization has been familiar with a tech, and a tech has marketed heavily and developed tooling and developed documentation into their sector for years, they feel very comfortable with it. So it's change. It's big change. There's a lot of new skills for people to learn. But we're finding once we get over the initial hurdles of people accepting that there's got to be some change, that they realize, like people further up the chain, that this can bring great benefits to their organization.
ShapeBlue is one of the long-term supporters of the CloudStack Collaboration Conference. As a last question, why you're supporting the conference and how do you see it changing throughout the years?
Yeah, we've been sponsoring CloudStack Collab for over a decade, and it isn't just the sponsorship, it's the involvement of people from ShapeBlue delivering talks, helping organize this conference. We see this as a natural extension, actually not an extension, part of the CloudStack community. We get a lot out of this in terms of, by bringing and sharing information, we get other people to bring and share information. We collaborate. It's a collaboration conference, so it's invaluable to us. Main way I'm seeing it change is I'm seeing it grow. I'm seeing the numbers grow up every year. I'm seeing the diversity of the organizations who are coming to these conferences is almost growing exponentially, and long may that continue.
Thank you very much, Giles and ShapeBlue, for helping us having that event and helping us allowing all these new people to understand more for the benefits of open source. See you next year, hopefully.
See you next year, Ivet.